Hi, it's Ricky of Moshville Times here once again. Now, tonight I'm delighted to be associated with my colleague Sean. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Hey, I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Oh, I'm living the dream here. I'm living the dream here. But also, as you can see, we have James from the band. Well, when I say the band, it's, I don't know what you want to call it, like a one-man project, Hellripper. Now, they're a Scottish black and speed thrash death metal band with a lot of other influences thrown in there as well. So I think my intro tells you everything you need to know about the band Hellripper. You just can't pigeonhole this band. They do exactly what he wants. So how the hell are you doing, James? You managed to escape all this COVID nonsense?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And it's good to speak to you finally. And yeah, we're out of the COVID now, and yeah, after a bunch of, I mean, same story with everyone. Everyone's gigs got cancelled.
Yeah.
Everything just went mad for everyone. So it's good to be.
Did you have an episode of it as well?
I got COVID. Yeah, like at the worst time. It was kind of when everything was getting a bit back to normal, and I got COVID the day before I was going to see Midnight.
Right.
Glasgow, and I was going to see Gamma Bomb the next day. Gamma Bomb over in Ireland, the festival that Jarvis from Night Demon put on. I was
Yeah.
going to see Midnight and Gamma Bomb and all that, and yeah, that was the one time I got proper like bad COVID, and I was in bed for a week and just didn't get to see them. So yeah,
So how was it then? Before I go into anything, then like I've interviewed like Kieran from Ashen Crown, for example. He got COVID, and it took him a good 4 or 5 months before he got his vocals back. Did it affect you in a similar way, or was it just a week out, a week to 10 days out of the game, and then your vocals were back in check?
yeah. When was it? See, I think I wasn't really doing any vocals or anything at that point. I don't think like. So I think it was only like a week or something like that. A week or something. I was kind of just in bed, like ruined, but
Yeah.
I wasn't really doing much. It must have been like last summer or something. I can't remember when it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything, important like vocal wise and stuff like that. But
Cool.
if I remember correctly, I might have had a gig the next day or something. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it just seemed to kind of just wipe me out for a week, and then I seemed to
Yeah.
recover okay afterwards. Which yeah, I mean yeah, a lot more people had it worse, like you say, like
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely kind of lucky in that respect.
Well, it's good to see you back in tip-top shape, and especially with your brand new album, Warlock's Grim and Withered Hags, getting released about a month ago now. How did it feel to finally release it after all the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it then?
It was good. Like both really happy and a relief. Like the first I finished it August or something. I finished the album August 22. So there was a 6 months period like waiting for, like there was a vinyl delay and
Yeah.
stuff called with everything, and then all the stuff that goes into like album promo and setting up the release and stuff. So it was a good 6 months or so before like I had to wait to get it out there after finishing. So and the waiting part is always the worst for me, like you finish something, you've just got to leave it, and it's always good to get it out. But I mean, yeah, the last album, because of COVID, that was a good 10 or 11 months or something before that came out. So this time is an improvement. So I was, yeah, but I was writing it since like summer 2022 or summer 2020, sorry. So it's, yeah, two-year writing period really. And it's always good to get it out there and then just immediately start working on the next stuff.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is it like a bit of a weird feeling where you've spent so much on it, but now that it's officially out, you just want to go on to the next chapter?
Yeah, basically. I mean, especially like I said with the waiting period. So
Yeah.
it's like it's a new album like last month, but I've finished it for 6 months. So I basically kind of started writing again like the next month, like in September and stuff. So I'm looking to do like working on new stuff, and yeah, so it's like yeah, and I've heard the songs about 4 billion times, with the mixing and the recording, the mixing and the
Yeah.
writing and all that. So I've heard the songs so much that it's strange that
You
it's
want to
like
do something new now?
exactly, yeah. But I'm glad to get out there, and I'm
Yeah.
really happy with it, and it's good that people seem to enjoy it as well.
Well, certainly getting well received everywhere, but that's just leading on to the following question. I see that was recorded between March 21 and June 22. So it's fair to say then that some of the material was 3 years old, maybe even longer. But was any of the material going to be used for the Affair of the Poisons, or is the Wither Tags all new material?
Yeah, I've got stuff from Affair of the Poisons. There's always riffs, maybe even before if I try to think of any of the riffs. But there's always, cool parts that I come up with and they just don't fit a song that I've got at the moment, and they just get set aside. Like, for example, the mid-paced Dark Throne riff on the Knuckle of E, the first track.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be on one of the tracks on the Affair of the Poisons. I can't remember which one, but it just didn't work well. But I really love the riff, and it's annoying. But like, you've got a part, and it doesn't fit any of these songs. It might be another couple of years before this cool part gets released. But it's always good to find the right context, the right song for it. And yeah, I've got riffs from like 10 years ago, maybe even more, that I really like, but just haven't found the right context.
Do you store them?
Just stick them on my computer, and I go through them semi-occasionally just to see if I've got any other ideas, because with the writing riffs and songs and stuff, a lot of the times, like I say, it just doesn't fit like my writing style at that point or something. And then I come back 6 months later and I've been listening to like more death metal, for example, and then this riff will fit my death metal phase or something, and then you can put it in that context. So yeah, I try and store everything that doesn't get used unless it's, like awful. Anything that kind of sounds half decent, I keep and see if it can work or be improved on in some form. And
well, I think I know how you make the riff fit the song. It's because you increase the length of the song time. I noticed that you put like a couple of 8-minute songs in there. So I was just wondering if during COVID or the last couple of years, you've been listening to a lot more prog metal or something.
Not really prog metal, but I mean, you've got some of the bands like Metallica and stuff. They've got their long songs, but it was just the songs just went like that. It was just I was trying to do like some different stuff, bring in some different influences and stuff like, I guess bands like Edge of Sanity, Opeth, who do have longer songs, and Metallica and all that. But it was just like, it just felt like natural bringing in new stuff and making like experimenting with the song structures, for example, instead of like a verse chorus, 3-minute song. Sometimes I'd be like, okay, let's slow it down a bit, which also increases the song lengths if you've got a slower part, so I'd be like, oh, let's slow it down here, or we can build back up into a solo, then go back into a different part. It was just like there's a bit more going on structure wise in some of the tracks, which just kind of naturally made the songs longer. And not a conscious decision. I don't care if a song's 1 minute or if it's 15 minutes. If it's good, it's good.
You better watch if you play them both, because if you play them both together, that's probably half your set gone.
I know. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what's
But before Sean asks you a question, then I'll just go to ask, because there's 8 songs on the album, I think. So did you have like 12, 13 songs fully complete, and this is the final 8 that you chose? And also because it's been done for virtually a year now, have you got any like new material already in the pipeline? Are you thinking like an EP before the next album, or are you always going to think of an album?
Yeah, I've got about 30 or 40 songs that was on this album that was written, not completed and not recorded, but like, in various states. So some were basically done, some were actually fully recorded, and some were like, 50-60% done, but for whatever reason, I just want to work on the other ones. Like there's a few that just didn't fit like my vision for the album. They were a bit more, punk influenced or something, like, and just felt out of place on the album.
Yeah.
But I keep them, and I'll be either reworking them or using them depending on how I feel. For something, probably a couple EPs, like you said. I've got plans for those. So I do have a couple songs that are more kind of 3-minute punk, metal punk kind of songs that don't fit my vision for the next album. But I think they're good songs, so I want to kind of release an EP or two. I've got an idea for a different kind of EP that's like in the complete opposite direction of that, you know, like a bit more of a longer track, a bit more experimenting, but that's early stages because yeah, that'll take a while. And yeah, I've got stuff, 2 songs kind of half written for the next album. But we'll see how that goes, because it was the same with the last the new album. I wrote 2 or 3 songs at the start of the writing process and then listened back to them and thought I do not like them.
Yeah.
Just got rid of them and then started again. So we'll see what happens. You know, it's just the writing process. I just get, yeah, it just depends what direction it takes and how the overall thing is as well. You know, it's an album, you've got to try and kind of make everything fit together. And
it's something that's I discuss a lot with every interview that I have. The older generation of bands, they kind of look the album and then album and then album. They like the beginning, the middle of an end of an album. They like the artwork, they like the lyrics and the whole package. Whereas the younger generation, they're like single, couple of months, single, keeping their name out there. Yeah. You just don't know which is the best, you know, but you the amount of writing and the amount of material that you're saying that you've got is just incredible. Do you sleep?
Well, I try to, yeah. But yeah, like you're saying, I think, yeah, the way things work now, like the streaming services and all that, and there's so much stuff, you know, just getting like pushed in your face, like a million songs a day, and then you're not even just competing with like other music now, you're competing with like YouTubers and like Netflix and stuff, you know. So I think it's you've got to try and find a balance between the singles and the like keeping your name out there, I guess, and the albums. I always prefer albums, like myself releasing albums, just because it's more of a complete package, you know. You get the physical product and it feels more like a project, you know, rather than just releasing a song, to me anyway.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, just the way I would do it. I mean, when bands just release a single, and that's fine with me. I love listening to like a new single, but just the way I work, I prefer to release an album or an EP of some sort. Like, yeah.
It's quite funny because Dog Tired, sorry, Sean.
It's all right.
Because like Dog Tired from Edinburgh, for example, they were going on about an EP, and they said it's an absolutely cracking EP, but it was like 4 songs, and that's it, it's done. You're like, oh, come on, you know, you were why can they just? I don't know, but it's a two-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword as to what's best. But like you say, people's attention spans. But Sean.
No, sorry. I think as well, like you've got the albums just get more attention as well from press and people because and stuff like that in general, because they feel, you know, more like a big thing. Whereas singles or an EP get a bit less attention, but it's hard because you don't want to release an album to no attention, you know, like if I'm making sense, like you want the maximum exposure, you want the maximum amount of people reach for an album because you put so much work into it. Whereas like, I guess if you're just releasing singles, it's like, okay, it's not done the best or whatever, you know, it's like you're not expecting it to go mad or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
You just do what you do. Sean, the floor is yours, mate.
Aye. So you've spoken a wee bit about the kind of writing process for Warlock's Grim. And obviously you do everything yourself. So what's it like kind of approaching the production, like with the recording and the mix, doing that by yourself?
It's a lot of trial and error, really. Over the years, I've just kind of improved, you know, I've been recording stuff myself since like 2012 or something, and it started off horribly. And then over the years, just the same with songwriting, I think you improve, you learn what works, you learn what doesn't, you listen to more music, you get more ideas like from whatever you're listening to, you know. Like I listen to loads of stuff and I'll be like, oh, that's a cool production technique, like how one guitar came out that speaker, and you know, like just like like an easy example there, but like you just kind of hear more techniques and then you'll learn how to do more techniques. And yeah, it's just something that I enjoy, and I think it's easier for myself to do it rather than get someone else to do it, because like Ricky said there, the writing process is like on and off for, it said, when did I start? March 2021 or something,
Yeah.
and like August 2022. So it's like I record in bits and I mix as I go, and it's just kind of like a hobby for me as well. Like it's what I do in my spare time, and it's just like what I do in my spare time. You know, I don't hire out a studio for a week or whatever, and then everything gets done there. So I think just the way that it works, I prefer doing it that way. And usually, the drums are down first, and then I put bass or guitar. It depends. Then just kind of build on there. And at the end, I do all the kind of overdubs, you know, like any extras, any atmospheric bits or any sound effects, and then the vocals at the end. And just kind of gradually build on what's came before. Like, and it's a fun process. You're just recording. Like, sometimes it's fun to see how like a simple riff sounds like just like one guitar, and then by the end you've got 6 or 7 guitars, 3 vocal tracks, and it just sounds like a complete different thing. It sounds fuller, it sounds, you know, different vibe and stuff. And the production can like make a big difference in the overall sound, like overall vibe as well. Like the same riff with one style can sound like a completely different like genre with another different production. So
yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I think listening to all the Hellripper records from start to finish, ending on Warlock's Grim now, you can kind of see that in the production journey. It's gotten kind of better as it goes along. I think Warlock's Grim is still dirty, but I think it's the cleanest sounding record you've done so far.
Yeah, I think
it's for the better as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I'm glad you think that. It's not just me, you know, just deluding myself or something. But yeah, it's that's the aim. Just kind of improve as I go on, try and get the best sounding record. But yeah, like you say, while sounding relatively like old school, you know, like I don't want it. I kind of want to try and get a balance between like the old school and the modern, because I love both, like newer bands and older bands. So I'm trying to, I mean, it depends really on what the record needs as well. I don't really go into it with a template or with a, you know, like I've got to make it sound like this. It just depends what I'm thinking at the moment, like what sounds good there, or what the song calls for, really.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a lot cheaper doing it yourself as well. But I mean, would it ever be a dream like getting Thomas Skogsberg or Dan Sweno to do something for you, or you just don't see that happening?
I don't see that happening, because, like I say, just the way I do things, like over a year or 2 years and stuff. It's just the way I work. Though I do send the album away for mastering, just to get like a fresh set of ears on at the end, and someone with.
That's the same place you used for a wee while, isn't it? Where was it mastered again?
So this was Damien Herring from Horrendous at Subterranean Watchtower. He done Coagulating Darkness, which was great. And yeah, I got him to do this one again. I think he done a great job. He knows what he's doing, of course. Most of his albums, or all of his albums that I've heard, sound amazing. And just I'm a big fan of his stuff, and I'm a big fan of his band as well, Horrendous. And so it was, it made sense to get him in again, and he done a great job. Like,
cool. So obviously you've been around for a number of years. I think you're not far away from your 10-year anniversary now. But for those that are new to the band, then how would you say it compares to your early material, in particular your previous album, The Affair of the Poisons? And do you think you found the sound that you've been looking for with this new material, or it just really depends on what kind of mood you're in, what the next album is going to sound like?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I think I'm getting closer with each release to like the Hellripper sound that I want. But yeah, I'm always inspired by different stuff at different points. And a lot of like the material, you can kind of hear what my like state of mind is at that point. Like the earlier material, for example, the first EP and first couple of splits are very metal punk influenced and influenced by that scene and bands in that scene. You've got like Toxic Holocaust, the 2000s Dark Throne albums, Whip Striker, Midnight, all that kind of stuff. Then kind of gradually I've tried to kind of put more influences in it, like, you know, take from my, so I listen to a lot of different music, not like out with like Black Speed and all that. So the first album I would say is kind of more speed metal influenced. And then, yeah, the second album, The Affair of the Poisons, I think was a bit more thrash influenced. I was listening to a lot of Annihilator, Artillery, Testament, Power Trip and stuff like that. Then this album here, I think I wanted to give myself kind of no limitations other than I wanted to keep the core of the sound like Black Speed, but bring in all this different influences to kind of complement that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that I haven't explored before on this album. You know, like I mentioned earlier, like Opeth. There's kind of like mid-period Bathory. I mean, there's like the title track is like the first mid-tempo song I've ever written for Hellripper. So that's different there. And then just trying things like getting the bagpipes in there, and
that was a cool touch.
Yeah. And then,
what I'm worried about when you said no limitations, does that mean that you're going to bring your Motley Crue influences into the band?
Of course. I think they're probably there already, to be fair. Probably there in some way. But it's like when I say like I've got like different influences and stuff, like sometimes you'll hear it in the music and sometimes you won't. You know, it'll be like you'll hear like Megadeth, you'll hear Metallica and Midnight and stuff like that, for example. Because of the style of music that it is, it's gonna, you know, like remind you of that, and you can hear the influence there. But in terms of stuff like just the song structures or a production idea or something like that, you know, you can get it from anywhere. Like I listen to a lot of the Beatles, the Doors, a lot of Oasis, Manic Street Preachers. You can hear like get influences from all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the fun I had with this album, like the writing and recording, was kind of making these things fit to in the Hellripper sound.
Yeah.
Like in a black metal way, like, you know, like listening to a Beatles song and thinking, oh, this is a cool idea. How can I make this work in a way that sounds like Watain or something, you know? It's like a fun, like, problem solving thing. And yeah, a lot of the production ideas, like there's a few songs where there's like atmospheric high guitars, like high sounding guitars in there with delay and stuff. I was listening to a lot of like 90s music, Oasis, Smashing Pumpkins, Alice in Chains, Manic Street Preachers, whatever. And so I mean, you might not necessarily associate that together, but that's where the influence like comes from.
Well, I never thought there was influences of Wonderwall in your music, but never mind. Before we go back to Sean, is there anything about the way that you recorded this album that you did differently than the material? Well, anything that you've done differently from your previous material that you'll now take going forward?
Not really. It's kind of basically the same process, but just improving my skills and my knowledge, really. I used some different like software and stuff, like some different equipment. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, this time I've learned how to mix better and learned how to layer guitars, layer vocals, use some effects better than before, and learn how to utilize things better, I think. And yeah, I think it's just that. I mean, I've used like the same guitar for 10 years now, the same microphone to record the vocals and stuff for 10 years. It's basically the same. It's just me in
You're
this
answering
room.
the rest of my questions here before I've asked them.
That's a habit that happens a lot.
See bloody vocalists, Sean. So fire away, Sean.
So we'll go back to talking about influences a little bit, and I think I'm still partway through doing my review of the album myself, and I'm still can't find the words to talk about Stoorworm, because I think in that one song, there's like 20 riffs or something, and you can you can pull where the influence is coming from, and that's one of my favorite things about the album. But moving on from that, you've said you've had a lot of kind of non-metal influences as well. Could you tell us what your sort of top 5 records that you would take to a desert island of any genre, of any kind?
Of any genre. See, it's a weird one because there's a lot of albums I like by bands that like I wouldn't necessarily say are my favorite, you know? Like there's some, but let's see. Let's see. Okay, first one would be By the Way by Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's my favorite album of all time. Easy.
Interesting.
I would say Dead Again by Typo Negative.
No bloody kisses.
Not Dead Again, their last album. Seems to be a strange opinion, but I think that's their best album. It's my favorite one. It's like psychedelic and stuff. It's really good. What else would I do? Maybe Peace Sells, maybe. Peace Sells, Megadeth.
Good album.
There's a banger.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what else you got. Peace Sells. Yeah, probably Ride the Lightning, maybe. Ride the Lightning or Justice for All. And then, yeah, maybe Satanic Royalty by Midnight. There's so much, man. Like,
Absolutely.
that's kind of focusing more on the metal side there. I'm just trying to. Yeah. It's too much, man. There's too much.
What do you think about, for example, Metallica? I'm obviously a wee bit older than you. I just want them to do like Justice again or Ride the Lightning again, but they can't. For the next 20, 25 years, they keep on saying like they progressed as musicians, but I don't want to hear the progression. I just want more albums like Obituary, Cause of Death is my favourite album of all time, and I still listen to it this day, and I just don't think they've come anywhere close to it.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes it's just like the lightning in a bottle thing, like just they're at the right place, right time, the right mindset, the right the seat, people around them, the scene. They're hungry. You're like, I mean, Kill 'Em All is different to Ride the Lightning. It's different to their goals.
So what do you think about your debut release then? Do you still listen to it from front to back to this day?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like all my releases. There's bits I would change and stuff, like production bits, or maybe listening back, like I'd be like, I'd probably go a different direction and stuff. But I always look at it in a way like that's where I was at that time. Like that's what I was. Like that's what happened. That was my mindset at that time. That's what I was thinking. That was my influences. That was all that. Like it's kind of like a snapshot of that moment. So it's cool to look back and, like I say, like there's I can kind of tell what I was listening to and stuff at the time when you hear a certain riff, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was when I was listening to a lot of like Swedish crust or something, and that's when I was listening to Iron Maiden for 3 months straight or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I love all of Metallica. So I mean, I'm a massive fan of Load and Reload, especially. I absolutely love those albums. I'm sure everyone disagrees, but
nah.
yeah. So I mean, I don't
know.
It's
like what you like.
Yeah, it's. I mean, when you're saying like what they're doing now, you want them to like do Justice and stuff or Ride the Lightning again. It's difficult because like it's like that would be them forcing themselves, and it would just sound horrible. So it's almost better that they just they do like whatever non-Justice stuff, because it's where they're at. It's more genuine, I guess.
Yeah,
I think if yeah, I mean, it depends how you look at it. I mean,
believe it or not, I've already got my 5-minute warning up. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm enjoying myself. But also, just a question: does your partner not get annoyed that she can't get a cupboards back with all that bloody merch behind you?
This is my office here. It's fine.
You have a man cave.
A man cave. It's an office full of goat masks, goat t-shirts.
I don't need to know about your private life, mate. I don't need to know that.
Yeah. This is just
the. See how you've got all that merch behind you. Does that, being a one-man band and taking care of a lot of things yourself, has COVID or anything, has it just made you look at the more business side of the band, that you're taking on roles yourself that you never thought that you would be in charge of, like the marketing, the merch and all that? I mean, the merch. I mean, as soon as you release this album, and imagine you sold like 100 shirts. And you have to post them all.
Yeah, I've done, since I've done everything by myself since the start. I've done the whole business side since the start. So it's just been the same jobs really, but gradually growing. But before I would sell, I remember the first run of t-shirts, I got 25 t-shirts for the first EP. And I was like delighted, like sending them and all that. And yeah, now it's just, oh, Sean's
Don't know
gone.
what's happened to Sean.
And yeah, now it's just, it's just, yeah, it's gradually more, it's just a lot more, it's just everything but up a level really over the years. And I've said previously, like, I'm glad that it's been a gradual growth, because if I went from like the first EP to how things are now overnight, or in the space of a year, for example,
your hair would be my color.
it would be, it would be horrible. Like,
yeah.
So it's just, it's a good, like.
Must be, absolutely must be. It must be a proud moment. Yeah.
Right, so throughout this whole conversation, you have been drinking some of Hellripper's own goat juice beer. So that's in collaboration with Black Iris Brewery from down south. Could you tell us a wee bit about how that collaboration kind of came about?
Yeah, so I've known the guys from Black Iris for a couple of years now, and I've met them a couple of times. And yeah, we've been speaking about doing a collaboration of some sort, for ages now, and it felt like the right time to do it because the new album came out, and I think they were looking to expand and do more collaborations and stuff. And yeah, it just felt like a good time to do it. And yeah, I've had their stuff before, and it was great. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it made sense to me, and I was very happy to get involved.
Is it fair to say you're a craft beer fan?
I'm not really. I mean, I'm a fan, yeah, but I'm not an expert. I couldn't give you mad details and stuff. I know if it tastes good. I know if it works.
Did you get tastes along the way?
Yeah, so I've tried loads of their stuff before as well. So I got a whole bunch of stuff, and all their stuff, like, the aesthetics are so good as well. Like, let's get here. Can you see?
That's really cool. What's the percent? That's the most important thing. What's the percent?
Percentage is 6%. But yeah, it's a New England IPA. I mean, I've got no, like, I know it tastes good. I couldn't tell you like what it tastes like, like stuff like that. I'm no connoisseur expert. I know it tastes good. It works. You get drunk off it. That is the
terrible behaviour. I mean, I've got mates. I think it's like drinking dirty dishwasher. But I like the lighter or the lighter IPAs. I don't like the darker, thick IPAs. I would rather much have a pint of Guinness.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm a bit more open minded. I'll give anything a try, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah, that's basically the same with me, really. Yeah.
So are you allowed to say how many? Do you get like a certain amount of cans of the IPA every month or something?
No, it's a limited batch. So I've got a bunch of cans, but it's mainly just available from Black Iris and whoever they're, supplying it to. But I got a bunch, and that'll probably just be for
a week.
Personal use. Yeah.
Well, it's your birthday, right enough, isn't it? So
that's true, exactly. So
cool. Yeah. So when it comes to the lyrics, do you watch a lot of documentaries? Do you read a lot of books? But do you have like a book of lyrics already written? Like, I don't know whether you always have like a piece of paper and a pen on you see something in the street, you write about it, or do you wait until you've written the song and then you do the lyrics?
Yes, it's a mixture of both there. I'm usually keeping ideas and stuff like on my phone or on my computer or written down somewhere, just depending on where I am. So I've always got like an idea of it if something comes to my head. And yeah, I'm always like watching stuff on YouTube, reading stuff online, and finding it, researching stories. And this time it was like folklore and stuff, but I'm always, just reading interesting things that also fit in with the Hellripper aesthetic, witchcraft, folklore, demons, whatever, So it's, like that. But I don't really write any of the lyrics until the songs are done.
Yeah.
So it's like after the songs are done, then I kind of look at my ideas, see if anything fits or whatever. And then occasionally I'll get a song lyric idea that kind of fits a rhythm, and then I can kind of write the rhythm. It'll usually be like a chorus or something, I'll write around that. But for the most part, it's just kind of similar to how I write the music, just bit by bit, taking ideas, and then at the end, just do everything at the end.
It's interesting because speaking to Kenny of Brainbath, for example, he's got like 15 or 20 songs already written, whereas I spoke to Carl Willits a few weeks ago and he waits for the music to be written and then he writes the lyrics. So it's as if the band are ready to release the album, but I'll need about 6 months to write the lyrics for this. But it's interesting how that all fits in.
Yeah, because I would say the lyrics and the vocals kind of it's just a completely different process for me, because it's like the vocals have got to come after, and it's difficult for me to write the song and then come up with the lyrics. It's easier for me to have everything recorded so that I can kind of experiment at the time. So instead of writing the lyrics or whatever along with the music, it makes sense, probably a bit more time consuming, to wait till everything's actually recorded, like fully, basically, before I start with the lyrics, really.
Do you find it quite quickly? Do you find yourself writing lyrics quite quickly, or can it be a long, laborious process?
It really depends. Same with music. It really depends. It can come in a week or whatever, or it can take absolute ages, months. It really depends. Like, I don't know what on, just on inspiration, or if the song and the rhythm and the lyrics, like, work well together. Like sometimes you come up with a phrase that or like a song title that you think sounds really good, but the song you're working on, it's one syllable too much, so it just doesn't fit or whatever. Sometimes, so you've got to like readjust things, rewrite things, but sometimes it just fits perfectly.
It must be great as well, being it's your band. It's just a one-man band, because you can write lyrics to fit the music. I mean, it must be frustrating when you've got like 3 seconds to fit 10 words in. So I'm sure some of the guys are taking the mickey out of you when they do that,
I mean, it's good. That's a good thing. It's everything's my my writing. So in a sense, it's easier as well to play and stuff. It's way harder for me to learn other people's songs. Like, even if it's, some people say, oh, this song by Metallica is easier to play than like this Hellripper song or whatever, But for me, it won't be, because I write the way I write. So it's easy for me to play what I write.
It's quite interesting you say that, because when I speak to a band, if somebody else has written the lyrics, then they can find it difficult sometimes to portray to the vocalist how they want you to sing it.
Whereas I could imagine.
You take total ownership.
I mean, see, that's the thing as well with the lyrics and the vocals. Since I do that at the end, I just kind of experiment with the vocals to see how I want it to sound. Like, I'll say, okay, I've written this verse. Should I sing it? Should I do it high growls? Should I do it death growl style? Should I do it in like the Venom Kronos voice mixture? So a lot of the vocal recording takes quite a while, just because I'm like trying different things for like every line to see what works best. And and then obviously the worst part is the recording vocals, because it takes it out of you, and then your voice is gone. Or if you get a cold, which always happens during recording, like I always get ill during recording, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so close to finishing the album, I've got like one song left, and then I'm out of action for like 2-3 weeks, and then I'm just sitting there like waiting to finish the album, and I just physically can't. So it's like, it's always like.
Before I get Sean to ask you another question, then obviously you do everything yourself, but do you normally ask, do you send the guitarist like a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, this is my best riff yet, you've got to listen to this? But are you like an insomniac, because you might be awake at 4 o'clock in the morning and that's how my riff's going to sound?
sometimes I get ideas at like random points. You know, a lot of my ideas come from when I'm walking to the post office or something. It's like
You pissed off with the post office queue.
it's just you know, just like I've got like a half an hour walk to the post office, and I do that every day. Like just get my exercise in, get everything, get all the orders sent. So it's like every day, and I'm just walking down and I'm listening to music or
the post office must hate you. That branch must hate you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes it's a bit overkill. It's usually okay. It's when it's like a new album, like this new album came out. It was just, yeah.
Do you nick a shopping trolley from Mazda or something like that so you can carry all the merch down to the post office?
Now, usually, because I mean, I've got to pack the merch, so that takes time as well. So usually I kind of pack a day or two, and then I go down with a bunch of parcels, between 20 and 50 parcels. I go down and then repeat the next day, and sometimes you can get it collected depending on couriers and stuff, and so that's okay.
Do you hear people growling behind you in the post office queue trying to get their pension?
I can see people getting a bit pissed off, but I've got my earphones on, so I get complained at. But I mean, yeah, like I say, just like I'll just be walking to the post office and listening to music and stuff like that, and getting ideas just at random points. And usually, then I'm walking down the street singing into my phone, you know, like doing a riff into my phone. So if people, hopefully people kind of hear me.
Cool. Sean, do you have the next one, mate?
And I'm just getting the image of you there, just walking through the street, just wait with your phone up to your face.
That's basically it. And you can hear the cars going past in the background and stuff. And
so you mentioned already, and obviously anyone who's heard Warlock Scrim has heard that you've included the bagpipes on it. So with your kind of future experimentation with the Hellripper sound, would you consider bringing in other session musicians playing other kind of instruments that you wouldn't normally include in Hellripper's music?
It really depends. If it works in the song, if it works in the context, if it sounds good, then yeah, I'd bring people in to do that kind of stuff. Like Antonio, who done the bagpipes on the title track, done a great job. And the only reason that works is because it's like the Scottish themed album, song based on like Robert Burns poems and stuff like that. And the vibe of the song, it's kind of influenced by like mid-period Bathory and stuff. So
yeah.
And then the melody just kind of felt like it could be enhanced with bagpipes, and it makes sense in the context of the song and stuff. So if that's the case in the future, then I've got no problem doing that. But I don't want to do stuff for the sake of it, or just to try something new. Like there's you've got to find the balance between, progressing or experimenting and stuff, but it's also got to sound good. Like I'd rather take I'd rather do a 2-minute punk Hellripper song that sounds good and is a good song than be like, oh look, I've learned a new thing on guitar and I've got 12 violins or something on the song, and it's a horrible sounding song. You've got to get the balance between progression and actually being good, which is what I'm trying to do.
I think it's good the way that you have approached it, because it's subtle and it adds that kind of extra layer. Whereas if you went a wee bit too much, we don't want you turning into Fintroll,
like that's what I mean. I had to work in the context of the song and in Hellripper. And like I say, it makes sense because of the Scottish lyrical theme, the Scottish stuff. If I was just randomly singing, about like, just whatever, like witchcraft in a general sense, or something based on like, the French witchcraft of the last album, it would kind of make no real sense to have the bagpipes and and the way that the bagpipes are incorporated as well. It kind of fits the kind of Iron Maiden-y dance type melody at the end. If I went into a weird, like a full-on folk kind of thing, exactly, it wouldn't work. So it's just finding stuff that works in the context, doesn't dilute the overall sound, doesn't.
So what did you give him for him to do his segment? Did you say there's 30 minutes and I want you to do 30 seconds and I want you to do something in there, or did you just say this is my idea?
So there's like guitars underneath. So it's basically the guitar melody, but I was just like, kind of like, he changed a few notes and stuff, to make it sound a bit better or fit better with the bagpipes, because I don't know how to play bagpipes and stuff. So things might work better, that I don't know about, and techniques and stuff. So I basically said, yeah, here's the melody, play that or close to that, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about, mixing it at home and stuff is that if it didn't work, I could, get revisions and stuff, whereas I'm not like limited.
I thought you were going to say delete it there, but never mind.
Well, yeah, I could have deleted it as well, I mean, yeah, that was the thing. I was like, if it doesn't work, I'm not going to put it in just for the sake of it. It's got to work. It's got to improve the song. It's got to add something. So yeah, I would have got rid of it if it didn't work. But luckily it does, and I think it sounds cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But talking of the visual side of the album for a minute, you've only released a lyric video for the single you done this to me on purpose. Nicola V. Yes, there you go. Will this be the only video released to coincide with the album, or do you see like a live video or something like that?
I'm currently editing a live video that I'm hoping to have out at some point whenever I'm finished editing that, and then I'll see what like the label says and best times to release it and stuff. So yeah, we got some footage from we played a show in Glasgow last month, and just kind of got some good footage from people and try to edit that together to make it, just to make a cool live show video, kind of clips from that. And it's music video. It really depends. I don't want to do a music video for the sake of it, like, again, no, it's got to be done right, I think. And I had a couple of ideas for this album, music video wise, but it would cost too much, and I felt like it wasn't worth it, But
there's a band from South Dakota called Anger Rot. They're a death metal band, and they just take the concept of videos and they make absolutely stunning videos. I think they do like 4 per album and stuff like that. And each video is just absolutely stunning. They had Sammy Duet from Goat Whore on the last one, and it's just a brilliant video. But I don't know if the video route is something that you could really do with Hellripper, because it's just you.
Yeah, like I say, it really depends on how you do it, how you approach it, how it fits and all that. And yeah, if it's worth it, just if you can do it, if you've got like a lot of people, like it can help if you've got like video editing friends, and you're like, I mean, first of all, I'm up in the Highlands, so I'm hours away from anyone that I know that can do anything. So there's the travel aspect. And then if it was to get like a full band together, I've got to get everyone, like the guys from the live band.
Could you not do a video of like you doing the vocals and then you doing the guitar, then you doing the drums, and then you on the bass? I
could, but I think it would look a bit weird or
a bit cheesy for Hellripper.
Yeah, it'd look a bit. Yeah, I don't know.
A wee bit of an ego.
Yeah,
I love myself.
And I'm not a big fan of being on camera or anything in the first place. Like, I hate promo photos. I hate that whole thing. So there's that part as well. If I really wanted to do a video, like if I wanted to be on camera and stuff, then yeah, I would find a way to do it. But
yeah,
I feel like I've got other priorities, like things that I can do.
You'd rather focus on the music.
Yeah, I'd rather focus on music, and I can do stuff. It's like I say, if I could do something proper, I want it to be done properly. And yeah. So
but also keeping on the visual theme, let's talk about the artwork for a second. I mean, I noticed that you've used Skálvaldur a lot on your previous releases, but on this occasion you used Adam Burke. So was that an easy or a difficult decision to make? And also, I'm also interested in, what did you give him for him to come up with a drawing? Did you just give him, this is what I think, or did you give him the album and you let him come up with artwork, or how does it work?
Yeah, so Skálvaldur, he's I've worked with him since the first EP, and he's done
Absolutely.
almost everything. He's an amazing artist. I think his stuff's amazing. But this time I was literally, Adam Burke's one of my favorite artists, and I was literally just browsing his page one day on Facebook or whatever, and he had the album cover, he had that already done, and it was available to use. No one was using it, and as soon as I saw it, it was like it was exactly what I pictured, like, for the album. The colors, the just the whole thing. I wanted an ominous kind of less a more subtle kind of artwork to fit the music on this album, rather than like before it was a bit more in your face, keeping in with the music. But yeah, this time I just saw this and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, like exactly what I kind of pictured. And I got in touch with him and I was able to use it. So he done that painting without any guidance from me at all. And yeah, I'm lucky that he had it available. No one was using it, and a lot of it it also kind of could associate the artwork with the songs as well. You know, you've got the three figures up on the cliff, which could be the withered hags or the three witches from Macbeth on I the Deceiver. You've got the kind of psychedelic looking goat, which kind of goes with the theme of Goat Vomit Nightmare, I guess. You've got the colors like green and stuff, which I wanted to kind of go with a Highlands type thing. And yeah, so yeah, it just worked out, like just coincidentally, like worked out perfectly. And I love the art.
Cool. Sean, do you have another question you want to ask?
Yeah, I just want to add, I think when we're talking about both artwork and music videos as well, I think looking at the lyric video for the Knuckleby, I think that kind of style for video kind of suits Hellripper, because at the same time, the kind of narratives being showcased and all the artwork, and it's very kind of mystical and dark, and it kind of works that way.
Yeah, that was Matthew Vickerstaff he works for Peaceville. He done that. He's like he does video editing and video and graphic design and illustration and all that kind of stuff. So he was like, yeah, I can do a lyric video to promote the album, and he just kind of took this song and done what he wanted with that, like, and it was cool. Like, yeah, as long as my face isn't in the video, you know, I'm like, fair enough. Like,
Cool. You'll be glad to know I've only got like 5 questions left. So now that the world is opening its doors to playing live again, what gigs have you played recently? I mean, I saw that you played Holland at the weekend there, but I also see that you've got a number of English dates coming up next month. So I was wondering what you can tell us about the English dates, but I was wondering, are you planning a couple of European festivals as well?
Yeah, so we're doing a few shows with Warbringer in April, which is I think it's 3 shows in England, and then we're doing a show in Cardiff, like a headline show in Cardiff. And then we've got kind of festivals kind of scattered throughout the year, both in the UK and Europe. And then in the summer we're going to be away for about 6 weeks or something, just kind of touring around Europe and doing festivals, stuff like that. And then we've got another European tour planned 2024, early 2024, if all goes to plan there. Still a while away, so yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Did you ever envisage when you started in 2015, 2016 or something like that you'll be going to these places and you'll be doing these things?
No, I had no intention of playing live, like, with the band. Like, I had no expectation of like doing anything with the band, really. Like, when I started, I wanted to release an EP. Like, I wanted to record and self-release an EP, you know, record stuff on my own and put it on YouTube, put it on Bandcamp, and see. I thought maybe 5-10 people from my local scene at the time in Aberdeen might like it, and that was really the extent of what I planned, really. And it just kind of grew from there and kept growing, and then people wanted us to play live, so I got a live band together and we played a few local shows in Scotland, and then just kind of gradually started going abroad. And
Are you the same person now as you were then? Do you have the same prep? Do you have the same routine before you go on stage? What you had then, what you have now? Like how do you, if you're going to play in front of like 2,000 people, for example, how do you prepare yourself for doing that? Do you go behind stage and just go through your vocal cords, or what do you do?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, there's no real difference, I think. It's just, yeah, kind of go and, yeah, try and do some sort of vocal warm-up, or try and play guitar, like try and get my hands working, and then I kind of just jump around and like try and, just get
Lee from
ready.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, just kind of get ready, and then we go on stage and
It's quite interesting because I asked Carl Willits that, and he said, "I just smoke fags and drink whiskey."
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, different things work for different folk. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's loads of people, do like hour long warm-ups and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that would probably help me, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, it really depends as well. It's sometimes the conditions, it depends on the venue, depends on your, like the privacy you've got, it depends when you arrive at the venue, if things are running late, if there's 10 bands sharing a dressing room, or if you've got your own one, it really depends as well, like how on the situation. But yeah, usually I just try and warm up a bit. And yeah, no real ritual or anything, like yeah.
Cool. Sean, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so obviously with Hellripper starting to kind of tour a wee bit more kind of broadly now, is there any places that you've not been to yet that you would love to go?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere that we haven't been, really. I mean, I've wanted to go to Australia, Japan, America, Canada, for ages. It'll happen, but
Is that going to involve the tour in 2024 then? So some of the places that you would like to go?
No, not the one that I'm on about. Hopefully that'll happen in 2024. It's been kind of planning it like, okay, it'll happen next year. And then something comes up. I mean, there's just so much logistics and so much cost, time, just so much stuff involved in, for example, getting people like the other guys, like the guys in the live band, getting time off work. Everyone's schedules aligning, and so yeah, we're kind of focused on Europe at the moment because we're not a touring band. Like, we don't tour 6 months of the year. Like, that's not what I want to do. I want to kind of play like occasionally, because I like to focus on the writing and the recording. So yeah, we'll get places when the time's right, but it's just, yeah, when things, yeah, when the time is right, basically we'll get stuff done. But yeah, like I say, it's just too much cost, time, logistics, paperwork, issues, risk, I mean, yeah, it'll happen. I mean, like I say, like, things are just growing, so hopefully things will happen soon.
You just want to gig and actually see the sun again, because I presume you don't see the sun a lot in Aberdeen.
So I'm up in the Highlands now, but yeah, no. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was, I mean, to be fair, we toured the UK with Gamma Bomb last summer, and it was like the hottest week of the year or whatever. Like, it was like 43 degrees or something. We played in Nottingham, I think it was, and yeah, it was roasting.
Yeah.
That was a fun week.
But I've already had the 10-minute warning again. I'm more than happy to come back on again. But I've only got a couple of questions. I don't know about yourself, Sean. But you've been signed.
I've just got the one, I think.
The one? Well, I'm sure we'll fit it all in. But you've been signed to Peaceville Records for a while now. So how did that come about? How's the relationship been so far? And what do you hope Peaceville Records will do for Hellripper?
Yeah, it just came about. I think Paul, the manager of Peaceville, was told about the band by a friend or something, and he got in touch. Asked if we wanted to work with Peaceville. Well, he asked what we were like planning to do and stuff, and if we'd be interested in working together in some form. And yeah, really just went from there. Kind of easy enough.
Same label as Autopsy, that's it. Deal done.
Autopsy, Dark Throne, Bloodbath, and yeah, loads of bands. So it was like, yeah, cool. and yeah, obviously there was like the, you know, like the kind of concern at the beginning, like I've done everything on my own.
Yeah. You
all
need to
that.
release an album in 6 months' time and that pressure and shit.
Exactly. So there was always that kind of worry, you know, like, oh, am I going to have interference? Am I going to be, you know, they're going to try and hassle me to do stuff? But literally, it's basically the same as before. Like there's
Good.
almost nothing has changed. There's like absolutely zero interference in the music. There's zero pushing me to do stuff. Like they don't want to force you to tour all the time. They don't want you to. Yeah, it's been really easy working with them and really good, and they're always willing to listen to any ideas I've got or any things I want to do, you know, like whatever. Yeah, it's just really it's just basically been the same as working before, but with the added benefit of all their resources and all their, you know, like their ability to do press, their distribution, the promo, all that kind of stuff is just, yeah, I'm just getting to use their resources now. And yeah, I mean, they've promoted the album well. Hellripper's growing. They're doing a great job. So I mean, I can't really.
Absolutely. Sean, would you like to ask your last question, mate? And then I'll ask me.
Aye, so we'll go back to, you'd mentioned the live video you've got, which was at the Glasgow show, which I believe was the Goat Cult Gathering. I was there. And it was a great show, and I kind of loved the concept. And I was just wondering if you would ever do something like that again with Hellripper, where it's kind of Hellripper's the headlining band, and it's a one-off kind of special gig, and then you've got kind of similar bands that you like kind of supporting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm up for, you know, any sort of ideas. It's just a lot of the time this worked perfectly because it kind of worked as an album release show as well at the same time. And it works, and it's good, yeah, doing it in Scotland, you know, it's kind of like a local type of show. Yeah, but yeah, it just really depends because we try and, especially for like Scotland and the UK, we try and play less regularly to make these shows, you know, a bit better. Like if you play less, like there's better attendance usually. Like, you know, like you're not like oversaturating it, and like, you know, I'll see them next time or whatever. Like I'll see them next week or whatever. So yeah, if something like that is possible in the future, I mean, yeah, I'd definitely do something like that. It was a fun time, and yeah, all the bands that were on that show were killer, and yeah,
cool.
It was a great show from what I managed to see, but unfortunately, I was only able to see a song and a half from yourself. So I'm hoping to see Hellripper back in Glasgow soon, because I was a wee bit tied to the bus schedule.
I know the feeling with the buses and stuff. Yeah, I used to.
Don't cause trouble, Sean, and press the fire alarm.
Yeah, the fire alarm. That was a good start to the. Yeah, we're going to be in Scotland later this year. I think it's November, or October. I can't remember the exact date, but we're going to be.
I'm not going to bring this topic of conversation up. But we've got 4 minutes left, so this is the time where I normally ask the band like what instruments they used for the recording then. So this should be a fairly easy question then. What instruments did you use for the recording of Wither Tags?
Yeah, so I mean the guitar was basically 90% like my Gibson Explorer, which I've used since the start. That was a funny one as well, because I think it was during COVID, so I needed the guitar repaired or something, or set up. But since I live in quite a remote area, there's no music shops or anything near me to do that.
Yeah.
And it was something. It was like COVID or a lockdown or something. So I had to. When I saw my parents, I had to give the guitar to them to take to Aberdeen and put it into a shop there. And then because of like the lockdown, I didn't get the guitar for months. So I recorded half of the album with another guitar of mine. It was a LTD V. And then I got my Gibson back, realized I liked the sound better, and then I just re-recorded everything with that.
Are you a bit of a geek? Do you have like 40 pedals?
No, I don't use pedals at all. Well, I've recently had to buy pedals because some of the the new songs kind of require it, but like I try and avoid any form of complication. You know, like for live shows, I like to kind of run around, headbang, have
Absolutely.
nothing to really focus on. Like just kind of, I don't want to be kind of looking at my pedals. Oh, I've got to put on this effect for this and all that. I kind of just want to get into it, go mad and stuff. So yeah,
No dropping over wires.
Well, that happens anyway. To be fair, almost every gig I'm tripping over a wire in some form. But yeah,
you must be drinking too much Hellripper beer. Then that's what it is.
Yeah. And then the one time I had a wireless, it cut out. It kept cutting out. So I'm terrified of that now. Yeah.
On the subject of gear, when it comes to just writing Hellripper's music at all, do you use live drums or do you use software?
It's software. So I recently got this Ugritone, I think, or Ugritone. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's really good. Sounds really great. There's loads of like sound, like different samples and stuff on it. Really easy to use and all that. But usually when I'm writing, I will do I write everything on like Guitar Pro type software.
Yeah.
So I've got like a MIDI. My demos are basically like MIDI versions of the songs, like all the instruments and stuff. So when I go into recording, I'm basically 90% copying that, and that acts as a demo rather than recording a demo.
Yeah,
it's a lot less time consuming for me, and you can change stuff easier and stuff from what I find. Yeah, it's just the way I prefer to do it, rather than recording demos and stuff, just because, yeah, probably less effort, I guess.
Go.
Really.
Listen, James, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, but I do have one last question for you. What's happening with Lord Rot?
With Lord Rot, see, a lot of the stuff ended up on the Hellripper album, on Warlock's Grim. A lot of the stuff that I had kind of written. Yeah, I've been planning to do stuff with it for ages, and I'm slowly writing and slowly making progress on Lord Rot and a number of different projects, but yeah, just making very slow progress, and something will happen at some point. But yeah, it was this time that, like I said, I wanted to kind of give myself like less limitations, and a lot of the Lord Rot stuff that I had was kind of bordering on the kind of
Bloodbath.
Yeah, Bloodbath, and a lot of it was like kind of Black Death kind of influence, like, and it fit what I was doing with Hellripper as well. So I thought, yeah, I'll just stick it in here. It works really well. It works with the songs I've got. Like, what would it be? Like something, yeah, like Stoorworm, for example. That was a lot of a lot of the riffs are from a couple of Lord Rot tracks there. What else? Yeah, the Knuckle of V. That ending part, the bit where it's like the black metal sounding part with the double bass drums and stuff. That was going to be on like a Lord Rot EP. But yeah, it depends. Yeah, I've still got ideas. I've still got stuff planned. There'll probably be an EP at some point, or.
Do you know, it sounds as if you're just 24/7 music, your own radio station. And just to let you know, there is Moshville Radio that actually plays your music, just to drop that in there.
Excellent.
Especially on a Thursday night, 8 till 11 o'clock. Not that I'm self-promoting or anything.
Shameless, Ricky, shameless.
Absolutely disgusting. I know, absolutely disgusting.
You've got to promote one way.
Exactly. But it's funny though, like I speak to a lot of like death metal bands. They go away from death metal, or like they might just give it up, but they come back to it. They might have a wee hiatus for like 5 or 10 years, but you find that they're coming back to death metal. So it shows you, like, once you play death metal, it's always in your veins.
Yeah.
But it might happen to yourself. You might get burnt out, but then you'll find a couple of years later, I've got to pick up the guitar again. I need to get this out of my system.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that I'm still like, I love music. I love writing music and recording music. So that's like my main inspiration, just the enjoyment of it. I do it for fun. Did
you pick up again during COVID because you couldn't see anybody, you couldn't go out of the house and stuff? Did you listen to a lot more music, or did you pick up the guitar more, or did you actually have a time where, see this guitar, I just need to put it down, I'm sick of the sight of it?
Yeah, I mean, COVID didn't really like have a massive effect on like my thing since I work from home anyway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't massively affected, and since I live in a remote area as well, you know, I'm not
You've got
going
no
out
friends
all
as
the
well.
time. Exactly, I've got no friend. I mean, that's why I play black metal. But, yeah, so it was yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago, and also yesterday at the same time. Like
What do you do to switch off? Do you play golf?
Usually listen to music. I watch football.
Do you listen to Moshville radio on a Thursday night between 8 and 11?
Especially during 8 to 11.
You're a liar. This an hour and a half interview and you've just lied to me.
But no, it's yeah. I mean, most of what I do is music related in some form. Like, it's just what I like watching interviews and stuff, and documentaries, and just listening to music, and you know, watching like the making of albums and stuff like that, and
like concert footage.
Yeah, I've always got music on, and podcasts. You know, like it's like if I'm packing orders and stuff, I've got like a podcast or Spotify like new releases.
Did I tell you that my show's recorded in Mixcloud so you can listen to 3 hours of extreme metal after a Thursday night 8 to 11? Did I tell you that?
You did not?
No, well, no, I have.
Excellent.
No, cool.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, and occasionally I'll watch TV and stuff. But I mean, yeah, music's just what I enjoy, and what you said before about like getting burnt out and stuff. That's why the new album, like, I wanted to keep it interesting for myself by giving myself like less limitations, and bringing in the Lord Rot influence, and bringing in like say the Beatles influence and stuff. It was a good way to keep things interesting, like not get bored of writing stuff. And I think this is the most fun I've had recording. It's the happiest I've been with the end product. It's the happiest I've been while doing stuff, and it's the most kind of inspired I felt doing it.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, so I think that's the trick. Like, just don't try and limit yourself. Like, you know, like, just do what you like to do. Don't like just do what you want to do, and don't limit yourself too much, you know, because I think that's when you can kind of get frustrated. Like, if you're like, oh, I can't do this because it doesn't fit, it's not evil enough or whatever, you know. I don't know. But and like I said before, it was a really fun, just, you know, putting all these influences into this context and try to make it work. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'm inspired to write more stuff. I'm really kind of happy with what I've got so far for the next album and for this other couple of EPs. Like, just kind of carrying on, like, seeing what I can do. And yeah,
all I'll say is, if you are going to bring in your Motley Crue influences into Hellripper, make sure it's a side project. Just take influences to a side project. Keep Hellripper.
Yeah, I'll just include some of the Motley Crue vocals. I'll be the only bit I'll take.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
it's
it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, James. I thank you very much for your time. This could actually be one of the longest interviews that I've ever had. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I try and do that. I try and find out everything about Hellripper. I'm not going to ask you, like, what does your band name mean? So I really appreciate your time. And I'm pretty sure Sean appreciates it as well.
I do. Thank you very much for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for your time as well, man. Like, really appreciate, having some interest in me.
Absolutely. I mean, Sean, like I say, he'll get the review as soon as I'll continue to play on the radio. And the next time I see you, you'll be buying me a pint at the bar.
Excellent. Edinburgh later
hopefully
this year.
The next time I see you, I'll be flinging myself about in the pit right in front of you.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, James.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you later.